This is problem number 3 from the review. Here we have the temperature given on a specific day for the last 36 years. So we have 36 numbers to deal with. Following are degrees given in Celsius. And they want us to make a frequency table where the class width is 8 and lower class limit for the first class is 0. So we set up our frequency table. And here are the temperatures, and here are the frequencies. And so their specification is that the first class has to have a lower class limit of 0, and then the class width is 8. So from here, what you need to do with this information is class width of 8 means the next class will have a lower class limit that's going to be 8 more than this previous one. So 0 plus 8 is 8. And then we can continue on that way, making the lower class limits for all the classes. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24, plus 8 is 32, plus 8 is 40. And so we just need to know how far, and then just by scanning and look at the highest number is 74, we want to make sure we catch 74. Before we go on though, let's take a look at the upper class limits. This goes from 0 to something. If the next class is 8, then this should be able to capture our next number, 7, or the number right before 8. And so we could take a look at the next lower class limit, and this would be the number before. Or what we can do is, we just like the lower class limits, we can just keep adding 8 to this. And whenever we add 8, we know that's going to be 1 less than the next lower class limit. So this goes to 23, add 8 is 31. 31 is in fact 1 less than 32. So if we add 8 to 39, we get 47. So that's it. I keep going. 48, 56, 64, 72, and I think they should be able to capture that last number. So we get 48, and then 55, 63, 71, and 71 plus 8 is 79. From here, we just count the number of numbers that's less than 7. From 0 to 7, less than and equal to 7. So we just scan this, and we see that 4 is one of them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think that's it. Between 8 and 15, we have to look for that. And as you can see, this is quite tedious, and it could possibly you could possibly lose a number if you don't cross it out properly. So here's another alternative. Go to your calculator and type in all those numbers by going to Stat, and then Edit. So let's just press Enter. And then we're going to deal with the list. If you have something in your list that you don't need, you can clear out by moving your cursor all the way to the top and hitting Clear. Enter. Now you're ready to type in the list. After typing your list, maybe you want to double check just by looking at the last number and knowing that there's going to be 36 total numbers. This is the 36th spot. Maybe just a quick scan to make sure that you got the exact same numbers that we have. So once you got that figured out, what you can do is sort this by going to back to the home screen, second function and quit, and then hit second function and stat, which is really calling on list. And there's a list OPS here, and sort A for sort ascending, so just hit enter. And then look for the list, that's second function and then number 1, list 1, enter, and then enter again. It's going to say it's done, but what you can do is you can look down at your list by going to stat, edit. Now your number is in order, and you can easily count how many numbers you have there. One other thing you can do, since we'll eventually have to draw a histogram, is to go to second function and stat plot. So with this, we have most of our plots turned off except for the first one. Let's go to the first one, whether yours is off or on. Move your cursor to the on position and turn that on. Arrow down to select the type of graph, and there is a regression plot and another line plot and a histogram. That's what we want to choose. So if that's not already selected, hit enter to select it. Our X list is going to be our frequency. Our X list is going to be our X values, and then our frequency is going to be 1. And one more important step is to second function and quit out of there and click on Windows and set this up so that your classes will fit. So the lower class is 0. The X max is going to be the upper class for the last limit, and then add 1 to it, just so you can have some room so you can see that last bar. So I have 79, so 80, it's already 80. The X scale, this is the important part, is going to be the class width. That's 8. Now the Y min, usually we want to give it some space. It's always going to be 0 or positive, but I'm going to select -1 just to give it some space in the bottom. The Y max at first would probably be a guess as to what your largest frequency is. If you selected something that was a little low, like say we hit 10 for now, we can adjust it to make it larger. And the Y scale doesn't really matter, you can leave it as 1, and the X res you can skip. So at this point we can hit graph. We see that the second class over here gets cut off, and so just to double check that, we'll hit trace and then look at these N values. You click on right arrow to the next one, and we have an N all the way to 13, and then keep checking. These, by the way, would be your frequencies that you can put in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our window, second function and quit again, go to the window and adjust our Y max so that it fits that 13 one. So I had 15 earlier, we'll select 15 again, and then we'll graph it. And this is our histogram. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace it and note these values. So we have a 4, a 13, a 4, and a 10. Let's start with those. let's get rid of that. And we got a 4, a 13, a 4, and a 10. And then we'll go back to our calculator and see the rest of the numbers. 3, 1, and it looks like a bunch of zeros. And we don't want to leave these out because these are important. And then we have that last one over here, which is just one number. N is equal to 1. That's that 74 over there. So these zeros are important. We don't want to leave them out. As for the how many classes are there? We have 10 classes if we just count them all out. Draw a histogram. Our histogram is basically going to be the same as this histogram, so we can draw that by hand. We have a 4 all the way up to a 13, 4 to a 10, a 3, a 1, a couple of spaces here, and then another 1. So because probably going to be uneven during the test situation, we probably want to make sure we label these things here. And you can put zeros here or leave it blank. It says here to use the class boundaries. So basically between classes it's going to be halfway through, so 7.5, 15.5, 23.5, etc. And then don't forget about the outside boundaries. 79.5 would be the last one. And then the first one would be negative 0.5. Officially, our boundary over there. Describe the distribution in words. It looks like there's several ways to describe it. Most of the data is crammed up on the left side, so this might be skewed. This looks skewed to the right. Remember to describe the skewness by where the tail goes, and it looks like we have an outlier. It's 74. Okay, this is problem number 3.